The world is a complicated place. Every day, our brains are bombarded with information competing for a spot in our interpretation of reality. How do we decide what makes it in, and how do we make sense of the information we ultimately receive? One of the best ways to answer these questions is to study the instances where our perceptual system breaks down. For instance, in a social experiment called the person swap, Darren Brown used a method first demonstrated by Dan Simons, in which he asked a person for directions, and during their interaction, two people walked between them carrying a screen of some sort. Brown then traded places with one of the screen bearers. Using this method, he successfully traded places with people of different races and even genders, with very few people noticing. This is an example of inattentional blindness or change blindness, the failure to notice a fully visible but unexpected change due to attention being directed elsewhere. Inattentional blindness, and other phenomena like it, demonstrate the importance of attention in shaping our perceptions. One way to think about attention is by using the modal model of memory. In this instance of the model, the first step towards encoding a memory is to store the incoming stimulus in our very brief sensory memory. We then select which aspects of our sensory memory will move on to processing in our working memory by focusing our attention on what we deem important. In this way, attention can be seen as the way that we select what parts of a stimulus will be processed and remembered, and which will be discarded. In the case of the person swap, the participants were given a specific task to complete, giving directions. As such, their attention was focused on anything that would facilitate this task, the map, their surroundings, but probably not the person they were talking to. This all may seem a bit disheartening. After all, the identity of a person you're talking to seems like a very significant thing for our brains to dismiss. However, imagine what things would be like if attention and processing didn't work this way. Take the case of the clothes on your back. You don't need to be constantly reminded that you do, in fact, have a shirt on. Such a thing would be very distracting from other more important things that require your active attention. Your brain, therefore, uses attention to weed out the flood of white noise from everyday life and reduce it to a manageable handful of important stimuli. As demonstrated in the person swap study, this process does have its share of pitfalls, but it's a small price to pay for the succinct experience of reality that it provides us.